Valentine's Day. Hopefully you got your mom something amazing to tell her that you love her. Made her a card, maybe made your dad a card. So it's not too late to do that, all right? Hey, welcome to This Week at Chapel Middle School. So glad you made it on this lovely day. As you know, everything we do is to help you move one step closer to God and each other through Jesus Christ. Hey, we have a great show for you today. We've got a funny video for you, and I'm going to be answering some more of your questions about love, sex, and dating. And it's week 3 of our Awkward series. So I really love what we're talking about today and really hope that you'll be ready for the message. But of course, before we do any of that, we got to start with the Chapel Middle School Game of the Week. Hey everybody, welcome to the Chapel Middle School Game of the Week. Today is Valentine's Day, or at least it will be by the time you're watching this. So this week, we're going to play a game called What's That Number? Valentine Edition. So the way we play this game is I'm going to put a number on the screen, and your job is to guess what the Valentine's Day related number on the screen represents. All right? You'll have 3 choices. All right, so keep track of your score, and we'll see who won at the end of the game. Ready? Let's do this. All right, here we go. Number 1. The number is 36 million. Is that A, the cards sold each year, B, the heart-shaped boxes of chocolate sold each year, or C, dollars worth of jewelry sold on Valentine's Day? I'm going to go with A, the cards sold each year. And the answer is B. Dang it. B. All right, heart-shaped boxes. All right. Number two, the number is 1,400. Is that A, the different cards made by Hallmark each year, B, the year Valentine's Day started, or C, the average number of marriage proposals per hour in the U.S.? I'm going to go with B. The answer is A, different cards made by Hallmark each year. Wow, that is a lot of cards. 64. Is that A, the percentage of men that give flowers, B, the percentage of Americans that celebrate Valentine's Day, or C, percent of cards bought by women? What do you think, A, B, or C? I'm going with C. No, it's A, percentage of men that give flowers. Wow. Next one. 19 million. 19 million. Is that pounds of conversation hearts sold each year, dollars spent on stuffed animals, or C, estimated first dates in the U.S. on Valentine's Day? I'm gonna go with A. My guess is A. Let's see what the answer is. Oh yeah, I'm on the board. All right, very good. All right, here we go. Next one. 27. Is that A, the percentage of women who buy a gift for themselves, B, different sayings on candy conversation hearts, or C, the percentage of people who buy a gift for their pet? I bet it's the different sayings on conversation hearts. I'm going to go with B. The answer is C. The percentage of people who buy a gift for their pet. Next one. The number is, whoa, that's a big number. 4,400,000,000 individual pieces of chocolate candy sold, dollars worth of diamond, gold, and silver sold, or Valentine's cards sold each year worldwide. 4 billion. It's got to be C, right? It's got to be C. What's your answer? The answer is B. Wow, that's a lot of diamonds, gold, and silver sold. Wow. Next one. 85. All right, is that A, the average number of cards received by elementary teachers, B, the average dollars spent on a Valentine's Day date, or C, the percentage of Valentine's Day cards bought by women? I'm going to say B, the average dollars spent on a Valentine's Day date. The answer is C, the percentage of Valentine's Day cards bought by women. Wow. All right, next one. 145 million. Is that A, bouquets of roses sold in the U.S., B, Valentine's cards sent every year in the U.S., or C, dollars worth of chocolate candy sold? 145 million. I'm going with A, bouquets of roses. Let's see what the answer is. Valentine's cards sent every year in the U.S. Okay, all right. No idea what my score is at this point, and at this point I'm too afraid to ask. Next number, 15. Is that A, average number of chocolates in a box of candy? Ooh, that sounds right. B, the percentage of women who send flowers to themselves? Or C, the average day spent planning a Valentine's Day date? I know it's not C. I'm going to go with B. B, the percentage of women who send flowers to themselves. Oh, yeah. The answer is B. All right. The next one. 224 million. Is that A, the dollars spent on Valentine's Day dates in the U.S.? B, children's Valentine's given in school Valentine's Day parties, not this year, not with COVID? Or C, number of roses grown for Valentine's Day? I bet it's C, number of roses grown for Valentine's Day. Oh, yeah. I think I've only gotten 3 right so far. That's not very good. 3, all right. Certainly you're going to beat me there. Here we go. Well, if you only got 3, here is our tiebreaker. For the win, the number is 61. Is that A, the average amount spent in the U.S. on Valentine's Day gifts? B, the average cost of rose bouquets given on Valentine's Day? Or C, the percentage of men who say they'd like to receive flowers? I'm going to say B. The answer is the percentage of men who say they'd like to receive flowers. I should have guessed that. That was my my intuition said that. All right, how did you do? Certainly you beat 3, right? 3 was terrible. Maybe my worst ever. Hey, let me know what your score was in the comments below so I can give you 1,000,000 internet points. All right, hey, week 2 of Awkward Questions, and we have the lovely Jen Rawson, my sweet wife. So Jen is a youth pastor in Clyde. And what church are you at?
St. Paul Lutheran Church.
Awesome. And how long have you been doing that?
4 years.
And how long have you been doing youth ministry?
A while.
A lot.
As long as you.
As long as me. We've been doing it since we were 20 years old. Probably 19 years old. So glad to be here today and to answer some of your questions. All right, Jen, you get question number 1, ladies first.
Thank you.
Of course. So should Christians date non-Christians?
So I dated a non-Christian, and we had everything, it seemed like, in common. We liked the same movies, we liked the same music, we liked the same food, we had the same sense of humor, so it was going very well. I can probably only remember one argument in that whole time, so we got along great. But about 1.5 years in, we were talking about, do you think we could ever get married? And I think at that point I realized we have a big problem. Even though we seemed like everything worked well, I realized the core of who I was the different than the core of who he was. And here's why. When you decide to become a Christian, that means you want God to be the boss of your life. You want everything about you to revolve around God. You want to love what God wants. You want to value what God values. The core of who you are is based on your love for God. So then when you date somebody that doesn't have those same values, so even if you like all the same stuff, who you are at the very core is different. And I would say, I think you guys talked about a couple weeks ago, the idea that you can do a lot of things. Like you are able to do a lot of things now that you couldn't do before, but it's not always beneficial to you. So I guess that would be my question. Can you date a non-Christian? Yes. But is it good for you? Probably not so much. All right, question number 2. Is there a level of like love that is too much?
So I would say that if you are obsessing over someone, like they've like all you do is worry about them, think about them. I mean, there's kind of a normal part of when you like someone, you like them all the time, but there's another thing, and you think about them a lot.
Yeah.
But it's different, like if you're fighting with your parents over them, or if you're not hanging around with your own friends anymore because you're spending all your time with them. I guess I feel like in that sense, if it's become obsessive, I guess I feel like that would be too much.
Yeah. If you start making choices that are bad for you because you're trying to do what they want you to do or to be liked by them, that's probably too much. I really love you.
Oh. I love you too.
I love you too. All right, question number 3. I have no desire for anything sexual, but what if the guy I like will leave me if I don't do anything with him?
Man, kick that guy to the curb. Man, seriously. Any guy who's like that, he is not worth you.
I think I would say this. I think he's showing you his character is what you're seeing. And you have to ask yourself, what kind of guy do you want to be with? Do you want to be with a guy that makes you do things you're uncomfortable with, or compromise what you believe in, or who only is happy when you do what he wants you to do? I mean, is that the kind of guy you want to be with?
Or do you want to be with someone who loves you for you and likes you for who you are and helps you become the person that you really want to be? Someone that respects your values and wishes.
So do you want to be with somebody like the first guy or the second guy? Probably the second one. So then my question would be, why would you stay with a guy that isn't like that?
Question number 4. What if I'm a Christian and I'm having feelings for someone the same gender as me? Is this okay? First, thank you so much for asking that question. It takes a lot of courage. And I would say this, that you really can't control who you like and who you're attracted to. I mean, it's just something that happens inside of your body. Like, I can't tell you what it was about Jen that the first time I saw her that made my heart start beating, my palms get sweaty, and I was just like, you know, whatever it was, right? And I don't know why that is. And so, yeah, I would say that it's pretty common to be attracted to people even when they're your own gender.
And I think just because you feel that doesn't mean you're gay or a lesbian or bi. Your body is changing, your mind is changing so much in the next few years. You really, I don't think, will know that fully until you're older. What's important is to know that whoever you're attracted to right now doesn't define who you are.
Question number 5, and it's a big one.
It says, my friend is bi and Christian. Is that okay? Do gay people go to hell?
Okay, so let's tackle the second part of that question first, and that's, do gay people go to hell? Well, a lot of people know John 3:16, right? That says, for this is how God loved the world. He gave his one and only Son, so that everyone who believes in him will not perish, but have eternal life. So most people know that verse, but a lot of people don't know the next 2 verses. God sent his Son into the world, not to judge the world, but to save the world through him. There is no judgment against anyone who believes in him, but anyone who does not believe in him has already been judged for not believing in God's one and only Son.
Ultimately, whether you go to heaven or hell isn't based on your sexuality. What it's based on is, do you believe in Jesus? Do you want God to be boss of your life?
Saying that you believe in Jesus is one thing, but making him the Lord of your life, the boss of your life, is a whole nother thing. Like, I can say that I believe a chair is going to hold me up, but if I never sit in that chair, do I really believe that? Am I really expressing it? No, right? I have to sit in that chair to show that I really believe that chair is going to hold me up. Well, in that same way, it's one thing to believe in Jesus, but it's a whole other thing to place your life under his control, to say, you're the one who's going to be the boss, and I want to trust you with my life.
And that's the part that determines if you go to heaven or hell. Decision to make God in charge of your life. If you're going to trust God to have the plans for your life that are best for you.
Okay, so that was the easy part of the question.
That was the second part, but there's still a first part.
Yeah, so the first part was, is it okay to be bisexual or gay? So being gay means, are you attracted to people who are the same gender as you? And bi or bisexual means you're attracted to both guys and gals. So this is a very complicated question, and it's a very personal one for sure. And I don't know if a video is really the best way to answer it. I think this question is one that really you need to talk to your parents about. And if you don't live with your parents, the people who you live with. And those are the people that love you and care about you. And I think you'll be able to speak more into this with your life and with everything else that they know about you. And if you're not ready to talk to your folks, that is totally understandable. You can talk to me, call me anytime, email me, whatever. We'll meet together, and I would love to talk with you, and eventually we'll come to a point where we can talk to your parents about this and how you're feeling, because it's so important that they understand what your life is like and what you are experiencing.
And helping you through it. They love you more than anybody. So they're the best people to walk through you as you sort through some of that. And I think, like we talked about before, you can't really control who you're attracted to. The feeling that you get inside when you see somebody just happens. And it's important to remember that those feelings aren't what your salvation is dependent upon.
It's about believing in Jesus and trusting Him with your life. Woo! That was a big one. Good night. All right, I don't know if you're going to be with us next week for our questions, but you should be.
I don't know. This was tough.
I know. All right.
It's so good.
Since we're going to separate colleges and we're not ready to be engaged, I wanted to ask if you'd be engaged to engage in purity with me.
I'd be honored to be engaged to engage in purity with you.
And while we're apart, these purity rings will be a semi-binding reminder of our limited commitment to each other.
That's confusing, but cute, but also really dumb. When temptation hits, what are those rings gonna do?
They're a symbol of our...
This is a symbol, honey. Those are finger decoration.
Wait!
What you need is an ironclad chastity safeguard, what we like to call the Purity Ring 3000. Symbols and promises are great if you're a cartoon monkey living in a coloring book in the 1600s. But today, in the real world, what you need is something with a little more oomph. The Purity Ring 3000 isn't just a ring. It's a fully automated personal chastity defense system. It comes embedded with a GPS tracker that lets someone keep tabs on you at all times.
She's on the move.
It's 9 a.m. She's probably on her way to class.
No time. Go, 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 go!
It is also preloaded with Abstinence, proprietary scientifically formulated scent that is automatically emitted if too many pheromones of the opposite sex are detected in the air.
Oh, it's not me. It's the purity ring.
Nothing pure about that.
When the ring detects an increase in heart rate due to inappropriate desire, it triggers an ear-piercing alarm and blinding strobe light. And if you're lecherous enough to actually make physical contact, the Purity Ring 3000 immediately kills the nearest fuzzy animal. Is this what you wanted? And if things really get bad, the Purity Ring 3000 kicks into full chastity lockdown mode, projecting a pre-recorded image of your mother staring at you in disappointment. Try compromising your virtue with dear old mom looking back at you. Didn't think so. Why leave your honor and integrity to chance?
I found one.
Don't trust your virtue to a silly old-fashioned piece of scrap metal. And trust it, the Purity Ring 3000. Promises are nice, boundaries are great. But if you really want to remain virtuous, you need a ring that shoots lasers. The Purity Ring 3000. Not meant as a replacement to actual self-control, boundaries, and good decision-making.
Whoa!
Awkward.
What a cringy word, right? Nobody, including myself, likes to feel awkward. And we don't enjoy finding ourselves in those cringy, uncomfortable, and embarrassing moments. But we also know that those moments are just a part of life. And all of a sudden, your parents are asking you questions that are awkwardly personal. Teachers are telling you to stop talking to your crush in front of the entire class. And then you decide to come to church only to find out that we're going to talk about sex. Yeah, I know. Talking about sex at church can definitely be awkward, but honestly, it's just too important to ignore. That's why today, no matter how awkward it might get, we're gonna continue a conversation we've been having about why our sexual desires matter, not just to us, but also to God. And speaking of things that matter a lot, let me share something with you that mattered to me more than anything when I was in elementary school. I don't know if you've ever heard of these little teddy bears, but they were called Beanie Babies. And everybody would collect them, all of my friends. And the whole idea was the more Beanie Babies that you could have, the more money that they might be worth later on. So they meant a lot to me, okay? We all value different things, right? But I think there's one thing that's true for all of us when it comes to value. We tend to value things because of what they give back to us. Maybe it's a new pair of shoes that keeps us looking cool, or a new camera to make our YouTube videos look even more polished. Sure, those aren't the only reasons that we value those things, but they certainly don't hurt. But when those things stop giving us what we want, just like that, we stop giving them the same value. We begin to treat them as if they matter less than they used to. So remember my Beanie Babies, my most prized possession in elementary school? It just doesn't hold the same value to me anymore that it once did. I don't even think it's worth a lot of money anymore. Think about it. I want you to think of something that mattered a lot to you when you were in elementary school. That thing probably mattered a ton to you as an elementary schooler. But now, maybe it just doesn't bring the same value to your life anymore. When this happens with stuff, it's really not that big of a deal. When you stop caring about your old stuffed animals, or your baseball collection, or that jacket you loved so much before, that's just a part of growing up. But there's another side to this whole value thing, the human side. Sometimes without realizing it, we treat the people in our lives the same way. When they can do something for us, or give something back to us, we consider them valuable or important. But when they don't, well, that's when we begin to treat them like they've lost their importance. That's when we start treating people in ways that are less than they deserve. We start saying things about them, thinking things about them, or treating them as though they aren't all that special or important after all. Now, I know we might not all be doing this, or some of us might be doing this without even realizing it, but it's important to talk about it because it's a big deal, especially when it comes to things like sex and dating. Some of you might not even be interested in dating right now. Or maybe you're not even allowed to date yet. Still, I want you to stick with me because this stuff is important not just for today, but for the rest of your life. The way we treat people we're interested in or spending time with, it matters. The way we value them with our words, our actions, and even our thoughts is important. We might be tempted to talk about the people that we're attracted to in ways that aren't valuing to them. We may say things about their bodies and about their personalities that aren't all that respectful. Or we might even think about them in ways that don't value them. They're the kind of thoughts that we wouldn't want them, or really anyone, to know about. Maybe we even ask the person we're talking with to send pictures or participate in behaviors that we know don't show them value that they deserve. We might treat the person we're attracted to in a way that makes us feel good, even if we know it's hurtful or harmful to them. We flirt with them, we tease them, we talk to them in a way that doesn't benefit anybody but us. Maybe we send photos, or we say inappropriate things, or lead someone on because it makes us feel good. Or maybe we even pressure them into doing something physical that they don't want to do. But at the end of the day, we really don't care about how it makes the other person feel. But no matter how it happens, the truth is this: when we don't treat others like they have value, we wind up treating them like objects instead of people. Objects that might have meant a lot to us when we first started catching feelings or first started talking. Objects that now just don't seem to have the same value unless they're doing something we want them to do. Instead of seeing someone as who they are on the inside first, we might begin to see them simply as a body or a personality meant to give us whatever we want. And the fact that they have their own desires, their own thoughts, emotions, and hearts, well, maybe we just don't seem to notice or care. But here's what's important though. Every one of us wants to be valued. I guess that deep down, all of us want to be seen as someone worthy of respect, someone who was valued for who they are, not what they can give to someone else. But if this is what we want for ourselves, shouldn't it be what we want for others? How do we start changing the way that we treat people so that we're not only giving them value, but receiving it for ourselves as well? I think it's important to take a few minutes and make sure we know what God has to say about all of this. First, we should know that God made each of us, and because of that, we are valuable. We have value simply because we are made by God. And beyond that, other people have value because they are also made by God. That right there, that's the foundation for how we treat other people and ourselves. If we believe that we all have value simply because God made us and told us so, that's great. That's the starting place. But even Jesus didn't stop there. See, believing those two ideas is important, but the way that we treat other people because these ideas are true may be even more important. Thankfully, Jesus gave us a clear picture of how to treat people like they have value. So, about 2,000 years ago, Jesus was having a conversation with some really smart people. And these were religious leaders and they were lawyers who had started to really dislike Jesus. They thought they were in charge of the ancient Jewish people, that the people were supposed to listen to them, follow their rules, and obey God's laws like they did. But then, Jesus came along and started teaching the way to really follow the laws that God had given to his people. Jesus obeyed all of God's laws, but he did so in a way that was full of love. And those religious leaders, they didn't like it. In fact, they would often confront Jesus and try to get him to say something they knew would go against God, just to prove that he wasn't worth trusting. In the encounter we're gonna look at today, a group of religious leaders had approached Jesus to debate, question, and try to catch him to say the wrong thing. Finally, one of them spoke up and said, basically, "Okay, Jesus, what's the most important commandment that God has for all of us? What's the most important thing to him out of everything?" And to answer, Jesus said something they didn't expect. Something I think can help change the way we treat everyone. "And you must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, and all your strength. The second is equally important. Love your neighbor as yourself. No other commandment is greater than these." Jesus gave an incredible answer here. And it's an answer he gave because I think he wanted it to be clear about what mattered most to God. To love God with all that we are and to treat other people the way that we want to be treated. See, when Jesus used the word neighbor, he wasn't just talking about our literal next door neighbor. He was actually referring to every other person around us. We share this planet with about 8 billion other people. And God wants us to know that he cares deeply about the way we treat every single one of them. In other words, God cares about the way we value other people. If we want to follow God's greatest command, we have to start with value, not just for ourselves, but with others too. And this applies to sex and sexual desires. We have to start caring and practicing sexual integrity. Remember, sexual integrity is choosing to respond to sexual things we feel, think, and desire in a way that respects ourselves, others, and God. So, we have to choose to love and respect ourselves first. Maybe that means saying no when we're asked to do something that we don't feel comfortable with, or deciding not to watch that movie or look at that picture we know is inappropriate. Whatever that looks like for each of us, we have to start treating ourselves like we have the value God says we do. And then we can do the same for others. We can stop using language that doesn't respect the other person. We can stop pressuring them into behaviors they aren't comfortable with. We can stop talking about them in a way that doesn't value them when they're not around. And we can treat other people with value because we know it's important to God. And if we want to honor him or treat him with the respect that he deserves, we should live like this matters, because how you treat others and yourself matters to God. So, what does this look like once we're back at school, or joking with our friends, or running around at practice, or alone with our crush, when we're tempted to make jokes, or participate in behaviors, or treat someone else in a certain way just to get what we want in return? Well, the next time we find ourselves in that position, we can ask ourselves a couple of questions. First, what would it look like for me to treat this person in a way that honors God? Maybe instead of joking about their body, you should be the person who speaks up to stop it. Or instead of allowing your mind to wander in directions that aren't honoring another person, you should remember that God made them to be loved, not used. Or instead of flirting just to make yourself feel good, you should take the time to think about what the other person is feeling and make sure they know that their thoughts and feelings really matter to you. Or maybe it's choosing to stop crossing boundaries because you know they aren't best for you or the other person. Whatever it might be for you, don't go another week without working to treat people in the way that honors God. Second, do I believe that I have value to God, others, and myself? Now, for some of us, before we can treat others like they have value, we have to first believe that we deserve to be treated well ourselves. See, if you don't respect yourself and your body, it's gonna be hard to value others or to know what it means to be valued by others. So if you aren't sure that you would confidently say yes to every part of this question, I wanna challenge you to tell someone that. Tell your group leader, a parent, or another trusted adult that you need help discovering some of your own God-given value. This might be the most important step you make to begin living a life where you know you have value and can treat others like they have value too. Now, let me close by speaking to some of you who may be struggling with this. You may feel like you don't have value because of the way someone else has treated you. You've had boundaries crossed and things that happened to you that you didn't ask for or approve of. Maybe you've been hurt or abused or worse. And because of that, you're struggling to see how anyone could value you. Maybe you're even struggling to value yourself. If that's you, please know this. You have value. And what happened to you doesn't take that away. Your group leader would be a great person to start a conversation with about this very thing this week. They love you, they value you, and they want you to find the help that you need. Remember, how you treat others and yourself matters to God. When we learn to love, value, and respect ourselves, we'll do the same for others. And your group is a great place to start practicing this. As we move towards group today, I want you to think about the way that you can value other people in your group by listening to them, encouraging them, and keeping your circle a safe space for everyone to share and grow when it comes to things like valuing other people.